Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we have another story where the SNP are completely out of touch, not only with themselves, with the people, but it seems with reality. Certainly the plans they're imposing or trying to impose will lead to such economic devastation that Scotland will be banging on the doors, begging to be let back into the UK within 12 months of it ever achieving independence. And of course, the one great thing is they're never going to get it because the plans they're suggesting are just so appallingly bad that nobody, even SNP supporters, could think it would be anything other than a complete and total disaster. Their plan is, the moment they become independent, they're putting a hard border down with the UK, and therefore they'll be imposing heavy tariffs and delays and all that sort of thing. And yet their own figures, their own Scottish government figures show what an appallingly bad idea it is, given how much trade is cross-border and where people buy their supplies and raw materials from south of the border in order to actually function as a business. These people are morons. We already know that. And as I say, the great thing is they'll never get independence. But it's still fun to look at them and ridicule them. So we will. Here goes. So, ridiculous SNP shamed for a reckless plan to impose borders and cut off major UK imports. This is because they have in their mind the idea that an independent Scotland can exist within a bubble of its own wonderfulness. It doesn't realise, of course, that it would immediately be in deep, deep trouble. Especially if they close the border. And of course, if they close it on their side, there's nothing going to stop England going, right, fine, bang, we'll have a hard border on our side and demand passport control, demand entry visas, demand that everything that comes across is subjected to a tariff and all that sort of thing. And when it comes to it, who will win that battle? Will it be the huge economy of England, or will it be the very smaller, much smaller economy of Scotland, who relies almost entirely upon cross-border trade? The biggest single trading partner you have is England, not the EU. It's England, and they want to make that difficult. Bing! Morons! Honestly, whose bright idea was this? Certainly wasn't his, because he doesn't have any ideas at all. The man has got no idea whatsoever about anything. And less than 1/3 of Scottish businesses surveyed said they never bought goods from elsewhere in the UK. So less than a third, right? So you're getting down to maybe a quarter, which means 3/4 of businesses in Scotland rely on buying stuff from the rest of the UK. And he wants to close the border. What a knob. It's funny. I mean, thankfully it'll never happen. It'll never happen. But it just goes to show how stupid these people are. Anyway, anti-independence campaigners have seized on new data showing that at least half of Scottish firms have imported goods and services from the UK nations as proof of the SNP's reckless approach to trying to throw up barriers. You can throw up as many barriers as you like, but ultimately you're only throwing up an iron curtain. You're going to have people in Scotland trying to clamber over the walls to get into England in order to survive, eat, have food, housing, jobs. Never mind anything else. The figures included in the Office for National Statistics Business Insights and Conditions survey indicate that Scottish firms buy more goods from within the UK than any other part of Great Britain. That is to say, like Scotland buys more from the UK than Wales buys from the UK or whatever from other parts of the UK. That's not really surprising, given how difficult it is otherwise to get stuff into Scotland, it being the only land border, as it were. In total, 49.3% of Scottish companies bought goods or services from suppliers in England, Wales and Northern Ireland in the last year. This compares with 21.2% of businesses in England buying from the inter-UK market and 45.1% in Wales. Because obviously, if you're in England and you're the largest country with the largest economy, you're going to be able to buy a lot of your stuff internally. But that doesn't mean you don't buy stuff from other countries. Obviously, nearly in England, nearly a quarter do, and that's absolutely fine. The statistics were published the day before the Scottish Government is due to publish export figures. This will be amusing. They'll be published later today. This is yesterday afternoon. These will be published later today. And of course, that's going to be an amusing thing to see as well, because you know that they will have got that wrong. That'll be another thing that will be pretty disappointing, because after all, it is the SNP running it. The research sought views from more than 10,000 UK firms, including 1,202 in Scotland in the last fortnight of October. A total of 30.9% of Scottish businesses did not purchase goods from the rest of the UK, while another 19.7% were unsure. Finished goods accounted for the most items bought, with 47.3% of the total. That was followed by professional services and raw materials. Only Northern Ireland was more likely to buy goods from the rest of the UK, but given how small it is, that is not really a surprise. Pamela Nash, Chief Executive of Scotland and Union, said this is yet another piece of research which underlies the sheer importance of the UK market to Scottish businesses. And of course it has to be. You do not exist, as I say, you do not exist in any kind of bubble. And so therefore you've got to trade both inwardly and exportingly, in and out both ways. You throw up a barrier for goods coming in, raw materials, services coming in, and also a barrier for your products that you've made going out. Nobody wins. You can't make all this stuff and just sell it to your fellow Scots, because the market will soon get flooded. You've only got 5 million, 5.5 million. Whereas if you want access to a population of 50 million in England, 10 times the size, that's 10 times the market, you'd have to be a moron to do anything to stop that. And therein lies the problem. You have to be a moron to not want it. And you've got the SNP in charge. And one of the rules about becoming an SNP member or politician, or even to vote for them, is you have to be a moron. Because only a moron would vote for the SNP. Anyway, she says, this is Pamela Nash continuing, we already know the firms here sell more products to England, Wales and Northern Ireland than they do to anywhere else in the world, because the UK, of course, is absolutely the biggest market. She says, now we learn in terms of buying goods and services, half of businesses benefit from that market too. At least half, and that's before they've even thought about it, because they don't know what the supply lines are. You might say, oh no, I mean, I buy this from that company over there in Scotland, but you don't know what their supply line is. Their supply line may be in England as well. So ultimately, there's bound to be something in your supply line somewhere that is, you know, English, Irish, or Welsh. You don't know, and so this is the problem they have. It's such a big market, and yet they want to close the doors on it. Morons. Anyway, the SNP's reckless plan, she says, throw up barriers and impose borders that would jeopardise that. The Nationalists don't care that half of Scottish businesses would then would have increased obstacles when it comes to buying the things they need to operate. I can tell you now, half the Scottish businesses would move south to England for two reasons. One, supply line and market, and secondly, tax, because an independent Scotland would have to tax through the roof. That isn't going to happen, is it? They'll just go, bye, because that's the thing that companies can do. They're mobile, they're free. The free movement of capital is a wonderful thing, which is why Marxist states hate it, because they know that they can't control people leaving. And that's why they put up big walls, like the Berlin Wall, for example. They don't want people leaving the state and taking all their money, skills and talent with them. But that's exactly what happened. And that's what happened and I've quoted it before, but that's what happened in Norway. They imposed this huge upgrade in taxes and whatever. And within 72 hours, every billionaire in Norway left. It took 72 hours. And the tax take in Norway went through the floor. Because stupid people, Marxist left-wingers, get into power and think that the people will put up with this shit. People don't put up with this shit. Anyway, there we go. That's that. I'm just round that off. I'm just going to finish there. But it goes to show how stupid people like him truly are when they think, oh yeah, let's close the borders and control the people, that the people won't go, screw you, Humza Yousaf. Screw you. Morons. Coming up. So there you go. Just goes to show how stupid these people are. I mean, you can't think, what do the SNP serve? What is their purpose? I couldn't think of one until I was making this video. Then it occurred to me, they do actually offer a service. It's a pool, isn't it? It's a place where if ever you need a moron, just look at the SNP and you've got all the morons in one place. You can round them up easier. It's where all the village idiots go, isn't it? With their IQs of about 80. Because you have to be pretty thick to vote for them. You certainly have to be pretty thick to believe in independence, given how few people truly want it. Only 60% of their own voters want the SNP to give independence to Scotland. You don't trust them, do you? Nobody trusts them. They're all proven liars. And then they have the bright ideas about, hey, I know, let's completely screw our economy by banning us trading with our nearest trading partner, putting up the walls and let people climb. They won't go. They're just morons. They're absolute dicks, aren't they? Anyway, having ridiculed them enough, we will move on. There's plenty of videos to come. The next one, keep an eye out. Do hit subscribe, by the way. You don't want to miss them, because the next one is about Pete Wishart going off the handle because people losing it. He's losing it because people are asking the wrong questions. So keep an eye out for that one. Anyway, until then, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Goodbye.